So this game, it is on the map Haifong. Is that how you pronounce it? Haifong. Okay. This is a tier 2 game, and I love Eagle versus Olaf matchups. For whatever reason, I find their games very interesting, just due to the nature of them being both annoying and powerful. Actually, I think this time, while I normally would hide my opponent's units, I think this time I should show it, just so I can explain what I was thinking, and you can also see from my opponent's side. Um, well, I'm gonna keep it my point of view, of course, in the fog, but also to see how what I was thinking wasn't always necessarily true to what my opponent is actually doing, like due to the incomplete information that fog games provide. So I go for my turn 1 property captures, and um, I go for this property first. Like all three of these take 2 turns to move from this space, but I went for this one because it's closer towards the center where I can start, like, just after finishing capturing this property, I can continue walking towards the center. My opponent went for the airport first. Okay. I don't think battle coppers will come out that soon. Maybe they wanted a transport, I don't know. I'm not exactly the best at transports usage. I know there are maps where you can use the transports very well to get ahead, but I just don't think getting the airport is that important compared to moving towards the center quickly to get more properties in the long term. So I go for my airport last with these. Out of these 3 properties, I go for my airport last because I don't think I will get a battle copter that quickly. This isn't a high funds thing. This is just a fog map. So we both go for recons. Vision is always important. And I am Eagle. I do like to stall, so I do build an artillery as my first non-recon vehicle. My opponent goes for a tank. Alright. The reason why I went for the comm tower first is the recons would be very close to the combat already, so I would like some extra firepower right away. Plus, I could use this to chain onto the port, of which capturing this property will not. Additionally, if I do go to capture this property, then this infantry will be down, like there's a lot of downtime in terms of capturing for my infantries in general, so I went for the comm tower first. I do try to limit the downtime in capturing to get the most efficient captures. And his recon takes a shot at my infantry. I'm like, okay, not off to the best start. If I had a tank, I would be able to punish it right away, but that tank isn't here. So instead, that recon knows my artillery's in that forest. They have the vision to see it. So, uh, I know my infantry are being threatened, so I put it on a mountain where it can still capture here if it wanted to. And I just wanted more vision to see how far, to see the relative capture rate of the corners. And I built 2 tanks. Yeah. I would prefer battlecopters. No, no, I won't. I do like battlecopters, but two tanks are better than one battlecopter. I found simply because you can target two things with it. My opponent pretty much got a free infantry hit and is getting another one, but this time I had a little bit of a plan against it. Alright, there's that preemptive anti-air. I don't disagree with it. I decided I noticed I had the infantry and the units in general to trap that recon. So that recon is dead. Nothing they could do to stop it, like to save that recon. They're, I don't want them to just get free hits. I know a recon is very important to get vision, so I want to destroy it completely. So it's fine if they kill my infantry this time, because I'm getting rid of the vision. I also got my artillery in a nice position. Probably this one is probably a better position for my artillery, where it covers both the most contested properties in the center. So maybe this forest would have been a better choice. But I went for this one because I wanted to cover for this infantry, but looking at this now, it's probably better to hide in this forest. Alright, I knock out the recon, I move my infantry back up here to capture that port, and I completely destroy that recon to make sure I deny my opponent vision. Alright, I built an anti-air of my own because I have a lot of tanks and an artillery on the field. I'd rather get some air defenses right now, and I don't think I could have afforded a battlecopter. I generally do not like using battlecopters on battlecopters. I believe battlecopters are best used to destroy tanks, and anti-air should be the ones destroying battlecopters, simply because one-hit KOs are far more efficient. Hmm. Maybe the artillery here isn't a bad thing after all, because I can then start pressuring this area. But I would like the ability to uh, cover these two properties without necessarily extending to my opponent's side. So I deny my opponent his contested property, and I shift my tanks down to get ready to help in case my opponent retaliates in the center. And now I get the battlecopter because I can afford it. I couldn't afford two tanks, so the battlecopter is the choice I pick. Alright. I decided maybe I should try to sneak for this port. I mean, I'm not defending a lot up here, so I assume my opponent wouldn't be defending over here either. Huh? And I got the infantry kill here. No reason to try to take this one. It's a little dangerous now, especially since my artillery will not cover the areas past it. And I sent my recon here to scout this area of where I'm planning to attack. Unfortunately, because of my movement, this infantry saw my tank shifting down. So I think it may have gave away that I am shifting down. I built two tanks because I can afford two tanks. Hmm. Alright, I see a bunch of infantry here. I I suspected that there may be an artillery, but it wouldn't cover the city. So I thought, alright, these infantry look rather exposed. Maybe I can take a few shots on them to thin out the unit count. So I go in. I got trapped by that infantry, I remember that. And apparently I didn't go for these infantry. Probably for the best. I just went for the one capturing, and if you want to attack this infantry, my artillery covers it. And I gather more units to start consolidating towards the center, where I expect a small skirmish will happen. And that tank kind of surprised me, to be honest. Well, I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's only two turns movement from the base, but as of right now, I wasn't actually counting the zone of control of the base. I was not aware that I should have been aware, but I was not aware that it was this area is within 2 turns from his base, whereas it's 3 turns from my bases. So it is a little. I am a little overextending if I choose to attack it. And my opponent goes for this property, and actually blocks me with this infantry, so I can't stop the port capture. But I thought, alright, I got my vehicles nearby. Let me go attack that tank. Unfortunately, I was not able to kill it, so that's an issue. But I have an artillery. I thought, okay, the artillery will help me control that area. And this probably was a mistake on my end. Uh, I didn't want my opponent to be ahead in the income, but I am throwing a lot of infantry away. I should probably attack where my vehicles are, and I'm kind of dividing my forces up here. Like, these tanks uh, aren't going to make it all the way down there, so I'm going to lose something, either the infantry or the tanks, or probably both, without the ability to counterattack. And this was a rather painful attack by my opponent. Yeah, this is why I should not have divided my forces if I'm going on the offense. Alright, I decide to take a shot with my artillery because I can. I see the anti-air, so if I destroy the anti-air, then my battlecopters should remain uncontested. I spotted his battlecopter, so I'm feeling good right now. I got a battlecopter and I just destroyed the anti-air, so there's a little bit of confidence from me. Like, yeah, I destroyed the anti-air. You can't do anything against my battlecopter, so I just went all in with the battlecopters. For I considered choosing between killing off more infantry or choosing to sit on the property to deny my opponent that defense. But I want to kill the infantry because I thought if he does sit on the property, my battlecopters can handle it. I'm still feeling confident from destroying that anti-air. But yeah, this area is lost. Instead of shooting at this tank with my artillery, since I am withdrawing from this area in general, Perhaps it's better to just pull back, maybe into this forest. Just just a thing where since my focus is up here, like I should not continue to divide my forces. I should group them together. And there was a Winter Fury. Well, my anti-air did its job. It's fine. He does in fact sit on this property, and that was just a little annoying for me. So he kills off a bunch of my tanks, and I don't know why, but I still refuse to retreat the artillery. Maybe in the snow, I don't think it can. Yeah, it can't reach the forest. But I suppose the artillery did pay for itself. It completely knocked out a tank. But the cost was that I had to use infantry to protect the artillery, so it's actually costing more than the artillery, than just the artillery. I got a nice roll here, and I continued pulling back because uh, fighting in the snow is like uh, being an extra turn away from your bases because it takes longer to reach the front. Besides, most of my units can't do anything. I'd like to heal them up before a lightning strike, because I am about to get my lightning strike here. And I assumed I destroyed their anti-air. They probably don't have another one nearby, and luckily I was out of range. This forest did block off his anti-air from my battlecopter, and I continue building more battlecopters. But I really do need more tanks because I only have one healthy tank and the rest of the tanks are injured. So, spotted my artillery and began to destroy it. That's expected. And it's only after I lost that infantry where I realized, oh wait, I was only 2 turns away from their base. So, attacking here is probably a fatal mistake that... Alright, so I know there's a tank here. He just killed my infantry, and now I have to choose. Do I shoot at this infantry to stop my comm tower, or do I shoot at the tank? Well, obviously the tank. I have infantry here that can interrupt it. So, I shoot at the tank, of course. Hmm. I probably should have held off on my lightning strike a little longer. My oh, look at all these tanks here. They're not ready to fight. They just aren't. And I built 2 tanks, but I didn't have any more money for infantry. Perhaps I should have gotten tank and recon or an artillery so I can maximize the use of my lightning strike to get extra units on the map. But here's a lightning strike. By the way, I love the animation for using the power on this. It's just really nice to see. Eh. I'm thinking, oh, I got a pretty good turn here. I'm killing off a bunch of stuff. But if you look at the HP of these tanks, once again I'm overextending. I am 2 turns away from my opponent's bases again. All of these tanks, they would all get one-shotted. So I am losing at this point. There's the anti-air. My opponent gets nice shots with his tank. And If we look, I only have two healthy tanks over here. That's not going to make it in time. So it's a completely losing battle for me over here. The reason why I chose to keep fighting is because I assumed there was only one anti-air here that can destroy my battlecopters. So if I can take two tanks with me and lose one battlecopter, then that's a favorable thing. I don't remember why I joined. Maybe I wanted some money. Probably joined because I would take less damage from the Winter Fury if I do that. But I lose two battlecopters for two tanks, so this attack isn't exactly the best. And I don't want to keep fighting this. I'm just going to hand over the... Why do I keep fighting? I don't remember why. I'm still overextending 2 turns within their base, whereas it's taking me 3 turns. And my opponent's getting a Winter Fury. I thought I pulled back by now, but I guess I didn't. I do remember I do have to pull back eventually. I do remember pulling back eventually, but I don't remember. I don't think I stayed for this long. Hmm. And because I'm overextending, my opponent gets a lot of nice shots during a Winter Fury. Yeah. I don't normally build medium tanks, but I thought, alright, I need some heavy hitters because this tank on tank warfare is clearly losing. I need to start teching up. So I retreat. I join for some... Like, I know my tank's not getting out of there alive if they just retreat, so I might as well join so they can have some pushback against attacks. I focus on the attacking infantry so that I would slow down their ability to capture my properties. And I believe now is the point where I decide. Wait, is it now? I'm not sure if it's now because for many turns I've been looking at this and I think, all right, now I stop attacking and start waiting, and I'm really hoping now that I actually wait because it's starting to get a little... I'm starting to see a lot of issues with my with my moves. I go off for that battlecopter, of course. Got a nice luck roll. If it didn't kill, I would send this to finish it off. Alright, I got an artillery here. I'm protecting this property. I got a medium tank. Now I just wait. I believe now I wait. Hopefully I actually do wait this time. Alright, it's day 20. He starts capturing my bottom properties. Puts his tank in range of my artillery. I think he forgot my artillery was there. It's been sitting here for quite a while now. Well, it was here, but I just moved it into the forest while the battles were at the bottom. He knocks out my vision, but in the process puts tanks in range of my artillery and tanks in range of my medium tank, so I'm actually feeling a little okay despite the early losses, simply because I'm getting nice hits. I one-shot that tank. That's very nice. It's always alright. The replay doesn't show it, but this infantry got trapped by that tank. I believe I went to try to interrupt this cap with my infantry, but got trapped by the tank. It just doesn't show on the replay. And of course, I damage infantry to reduce its ability to capture my properties. Some of you might not agree with sending an infantry to die, but I say it's worth it because if he goes capturing here and I don't have anything to interrupt, my artillery will either have to not shoot at a tank and stop the cap, or shoot at a tank and lose the cap and lose the property. So I rather injure the infantry now, so my artillery still has option. Like I can still choose the best options, and it's not forced to pick one or the other. For all I know, an infantry could be going for my comm tower, and that would prevent my ability to defend both of these properties at once, or at least prevent my ability to stop the comm tower and shoot at a tank next turn. But I got a medium tank, blew up a tank, so I'm feeling happy. I see a battlecopter go in, I'm fine with that, I got an anti-air. Second battlecopter, alright, I'm fine, I got two battlecopters here. And alright, I got vision from the mountain, okay. He's capturing my properties in the corner. I know I will eventually have to stop him because I do not want to be that far behind in income. I know I benefit from stalling as Eagle, but it can only go so far against Olaf, who can really cripple your economy. And he sees my artillery in the forest. I thought, alright, that's fine. He's essentially giving me a tank for free, a 3 HP tank, but it's a free tank nonetheless. I couldn't quite kill this battlecopter, which was a little annoying. But I realized I could probably... Why did I do that? I just blocked off my anti-air. I probably should have used a tank and then anti-air this battlecopter. That's what I was thinking. And why did I shoot that tank? I could have used this battle anti-air with it. Eh, I suppose that's what happens if you don't use Move Planner. You start doing stuff the first thing that comes to your head and it just doesn't work out. On the bright side, by doing this attack to kill the anti-air, I do spot the medium tank, and I think, alright, now I start bringing in the bombers. Bombers aren't exactly that good unless they have good targets, so I'm fine with losing an artillery. I'm perfectly fine with that. And because of these attacks, I got my lightning strike. The reason why I'm fine with artillery is, well, you'll see sort of a theme with here where I don't protect my artillery as well as I am protecting it now. The main reason is, if they're spending time attacking my artillery instead of attacking my other vehicles, my artillery can't move and attack on the same turn, so it's not as strong as a lightning strike on my other units. So I'm perfectly fine that he attacked my artillery. After all, I can just move my other artillery, or my battlecopters to attack his medium tank twice. So he's moving everything in range of me right before my lightning strike. So I'm feeling, in fact, I think I realized with a lightning strike, I can move my bomber, and then lightning strike, move it again, and completely destroy the medium tank. So this medium tank it's just gone. So I thought, alright, now it's the turn to use my lightning strike. I was partially concerned he might use a blizzard to make my lightning strike weak. And after chatting with him, he did say that he considered using blizzard several times to weaken off my lightning strike, but he chose not to this time. Some of you might have recognized this from my pain video. Recon dying to a 1 HP infantry, that's a little sad. But I go for the tanks because I know my bomber can take care of the medium tank. And I knew eventually I have to stop the caps on here, so I thought might as well do it with the timing of my lightning strike. And I know a blizzard is coming because I'm doing so much damage, so I'm leaving some of my units on properties to make sure that they're healed up. I destroyed that medium tank. I'm happy. I completely shut down the attacking force here. And I know my opponent does have adequate air defenses. I've seen him build several anti-air, even when his previous anti-air is still alive. So I decided to pull back one battlecopter, so at most I will lose only one battlecopter if he's nearby. And I believe there is a blizzard this turn, but I think for the first time in a long time on this map, I am actually ahead in value for once. Until Winter Fury. Until Winter Fury, okay. So, I don't want to be too far behind in income. Like, as Eagle, yeah, you do benefit more from stalling, but your power doesn't charge nearly as fast as Winter Fury. And over time, it between each Winter Fury, it takes longer and longer. Well, between each lightning strike, it takes longer and longer, and eventually you won't be able to keep up if you're still behind in income. So I definitely will do try. I definitely do not want him to continue taking my properties. He's currently 6,000 ahead, and that's a lot. But I do plan to send my infantry over to start capping this port, just because I know that I overextended over here because it's 2 turns within his base, but by the same reasoning, this should be 2 turns within my base. Maybe not the port, but the comm tower is. So I thought I should probably retake this port for income, and I could probably take this city back. It's mostly these 2 center properties that I'm not able to take back. Alright, move my recon here for vision. I see a Neo tank, and I thought, alright, I'll let my bomber deal with it when the time comes. But for now, I'm just trying to get my property back. And maybe send some healthy infantry here. But the amount of units I have on the field are starting to become significant, and I assume my opponent also has a lot of units on the field. So I'm now thinking, alright, neither of us has our powers ready, and my lightning strike only costs about 10,000 more. I must get my lightning strike before the next Winter Fury. That's how I plan to win. Like, I don't have to, but it would benefit me greatly if I got the lightning strike first. And I thought, alright, there's no resistance here. I could send my units up instead to start capturing that port. My recon is here. I think I did see the Neo tank move up. I believe, yeah, if I remember correctly, I saw the Neo tank move up through this one tile I saw. So I thought, alright, he's shifting to the top now. He lost over at the bottom. Now he's shifting to the top. So I also respond by shifting my units to the top. I I was hoping that my capture here would make him think my units are still at the bottom, but I would actually be at the top where I would face his army head on and be ready for anything that comes up here. He builds a fighter, that's understandable. I do have a bomber. I don't know why I moved. Oh, I remember why. I thought he would attack in the center again. Well, there's a possibility, and I didn't want to lose my only recon, so I moved him back, then shuffled him back here in the center again. He probably saw my recon shift to the center, though. And now I'm preparing to capture this property. I have two artillery here to I plan to move one over here to support the cap, and plan to move the other one up here to protect. Well, maybe this is a good spot, but basically to cover this area for this artillery. So if you want to destroy one artillery, you're just putting yourself in the range of my second artillery. That was my thought process. And I moved my air units here. I still remember the Neo tank moving up, so I'm just preparing for I think my opponent was attacking here. I don't know what they were actually doing, but because I saw the Neo tank shift up, I assumed his forces are over here in the fog where I can't see it. And this kind of he sees quite a lot. Like he knows I have a lot of units here. So I think that was the reason of why he attacked my infantry. He must have realized I have nothing here anymore. Well, at the very least, he wouldn't expect much if he's seeing that many units up here. But I was convinced he's attacking at the top because of why would you push your infantry here if you were not attacking? And you're retreating down here, so I thought, alright, you're definitely attacking up here. But just in case, I must send up anti-air to stop the battlecopter. And maybe a little more units to try to take the city back. I'm still behind 6k on income. I kill off that infantry. And did he see my bomber? No, he did not see my bomber. Okay. But he does know I have plenty of units here. Hmm. So at this point, I don't know he has a recon here. I don't know that he has a recon. But I was thinking, okay, he might not know I'm still waiting here, so I will pretend to attack down here, but still leave the main bulk of my army up here, so I can face him head on if he ever attacks here. Because I'm still expecting an attack up here. I did not see his Neo tank move down still. So, but because his recon is here, he knew that I have units here. So yeah, that was that. But I still see tanks sliding up, so I thought he might still be trying to attack up here. He's just waiting for all his forces to gather. That's not true. As we can see, his units are still in the center, but I was still expecting an attack up here because I assumed he did not have a recon in this forest, and I assumed he did not know that my units are up here. I never saw that recon walk in, so why would I expect a recon to be here? So I continue moving down here under the plan of I'm pretending to attack at the bottom, so he that I could encourage him to attack at the top, and then I can do a sudden surprise attack and ambush him as he comes up. So I'm still sending my units down here just to maybe put an illusion that I am waiting, that my main force is down here, but he sees everything. He sees my medium tank go in that forest. I mean, not in the forest, but he sees my medium tank is there. He knows I'm waiting up here. Still convinced he doesn't know anything and still building up an army to face it head on. But on the bright side, I am stalling out the game. And I know the next lightning strike will be very dangerous. I just have to get it before his Winter Fury, and I can win the game right there. Because there's a lot of units on the field right now. And the longer we stall, the more and more dangerous the lightning strike will become. So I'm going to speed up a little because not much happens. We both just continue. I take my property back. And now we played a waiting game. Who will do something about it? I saw his recon here, so I thought I might as well try to get rid of it. Like, if I lose my copters, it's fine. I'm just building up my charge. I have plenty of units to support a lightning strike. So I went after the recon to deny vision. I don't want him to know where my units are. And surprisingly, he didn't go after my battlecopters. Maybe he thought it was a trap and wasn't confident enough to attack. So I saw another recon and I'm like, alright. I knock out this recon with an infantry and I kill the other recon with my battlecopters. I don't care if I lose them, they've done their job. I built a rocket. Alright, in my defense, I wanted to protect my properties without extending. These properties, like this property right here, my opponent could take. This property, alright, maybe not. But I didn't want to be behind in income, especially against another Winter Fury. So I built a rocket. And I don't think it's actually that bad because it's saying if I place it over here or maybe even here, I'm basically saying if you want to take these two properties, you have to overextend all the way here where I am way closer to my base and my airport than you are to your base and airport. So I already have enough tanks, I believed, and I know indirects are better the more units there are because you really don't you want to first strike their vehicles, and with indirects you either keep them from getting too close to you by zoning them out, or you just force them to commit way too much to an attack that eh, I don't really know how I can explain it. I just went for a rocket because I wanted an indirect that can protect my properties. But I see all these vehicles here, so I start shifting down as well. Again, nothing much happens, so I'm going to speed up a little. We're both just, maybe he's inching his way, trying to find a weakness in my lines. But I just sit here. Like, I also built an APC to refuel my stuff. Yes, I do take less. I do use less fuel per turn as Eagle. But this bomber has been around for several turns now, and we're playing the waiting game. I don't have an indirect ready to cover this city yet, so I believe this infantry got trapped on this forest. But I am shifting my indirects down because I realized this is probably I realized this is probably the focus. So I shift my units down a little. So if he attacks, I'm ready. I have a 2-tile thick infantry wall here, which it's very nice to see if you like that much infantry to like cushion in a possible attack, especially since I do want to stall so more units I benefit from a stronger lightning strike. Infantry doesn't benefit from it, so I'm more than happy trading them away to lower the count of my opponent. Many times I considered shooting at the artillery. Unfortunately, I had other targets, more prioritized targets. So I decided to go after the tank to reduce the vehicle count. And I interrupt this gap. Now, if he joint caps or whatever. I'm fine with it. I could just shoot it with my rocket and then kill it with my infantry. I still got plenty of infantry to use before I actually lose. He moved his battlecopter up here, and this is when I realized, okay, he definitely has a recon either in here or here, but uh, either way, it's fine because most of his forces are down here, so he's not going up here. At least I don't think he would go up there. There's not much he can really get. And similar to the story of how I lost when fighting down here, he would be overextending up here, especially in this dangerous. We have so many units, so it's rather dangerous. But come to think of it, it probably is the best move to attack up here. Is it? Is it the best move? I'll have to think about this. But this mountain here giving me so much vision, I like it. And I don't have to use a recon for it. It's just infantry. And alright, he moved his medium tank in range of my rocket and artillery. I'm definitely going to shoot it down. I interrupt the cap completely. And I tried to go for a luck roll here. It didn't work, but you know, it would have been amazing if it did. Funny thing, I trapped his tank with this infantry, and this infantry got trapped by that same tank. Nothing really that important, but I just thought it was funny. And I realized there was a weakness up here, I suppose. Oh no, I think I know why I'm pulling back. This bomber has a lot of movement, so I thought I should pull my forces back so that my medium tanks are not in range of the bomber. If the medium tank hits my tank, it's fine, it's not that much value. If it hits the rocket, it's fine. I'm leaving this artillery completely open and bare because if you want to spend time attacking an indirect, whereas you're giving my tanks all the first strike it needs, well, all the first strike it wants, I'm fine with that. I don't really need to. I'm not obligated to protect my artillery. A similar story up here. I don't need to block it off completely. It's just there to absorb the damage and let my indirects do the work. Well, let my directs do the work. Attack with the recon first. Alright, that's a good thing. Sees everything I have here, so it's not as undefended as. At least it's more defended now that I'm shifting stuff up. And I moved my fighter up here, and then he moved his bomber closer, and I'm like, if I just kept my fighter down here, I could have reached that bomber. Why did I move it up? I mean, I know why I moved it up. It's to give room for my medium tanks to sit here without being in range of the bomber, but perhaps I didn't need to move my fighter that much. Still, I still didn't get the luck roll. Still didn't get the luck roll. Got it, finally. Alright. No, I killed that recon to deny the vision. And this time, I inch my fighter just a little bit closer so that if I wall break, I can reach the bomber. But this is a dangerous situation where both of us are really close to our superpowers. So I move my medium tanks even further back to stay out of range of his bomber inching forward again. If my rocket gets hit, it's fine. I'll get more charge because I don't counterattack. And he begins his attack. When his tank moved up here, I thought, alright, this is the turn where I lightning strike. I lose a battlecopter, it's fine. That gives me more charge than it gives him. So I'm preparing for a lightning strike right now, thinking how I can get it. Because a lot of units are in range, I could probably do a lot of damage, and if I continue taking damage now, that's just putting me closer. And as he shifts his tank down here, I realized he's not getting his Winter Fury. There's no way. Uh, Maybe he could have attacked his anti-air and then press inward, but he didn't know what else I have here because I destroyed the recon. But still, he went close. He either went he went both too close while not close enough. Had he committed more to his attack, he might have gotten his Winter Fury. Had he not attacked, I would not be able to get my Lightning Strike. But he went right into the sweet spot where his units are in range, and Lightning Strike is. I'm going for the Lightning Strike. So I attack, and this battlecopter sacrifice was not necessary. Uh, this was completely unnecessary. I miscalculated how much power I need, so I panicked and I just threw it in. But I really didn't need to do that because there's a bomber here, and I had plenty more targets to attack. My 8 HP bomber can't really one-shot a lot of things, so I thought I might as well hit the Neo Tank with my rocket first to soften it up and let the bomber finish it off. And then I continue attacking with my other units. And I did not use Move Planner, by the way. Normally I would, but I thought, alright, I'm definitely shooting that bomber. I'm definitely shooting that battlecopter. I don't need to Move Planner because all the units are the one shots are there. I don't need to plan this out. And Lightning Strike. I got my Lightning Strike before he got his Winter Fury, so I believe that's what ended the game. Had he got his Winter Fury first, then the game will just continue stalling out as both of us continue to wait for our next powers to, or maybe he might win with his aggression. He could have. I don't want to calculate it. But once I got into a position where I can stall, that's when I feel like I have the advantage. Because as long as we're not trading for our superpowers, the Winter Fury isn't attritioning my units. I've been joined just so I can get less pain from the Winter Fury, even though at this point the game is over. Like, he had a huge army here, and now he's left with one tank, one bomber, one anti-air, and the rest injured. These units aren't going to come into play anytime soon. So, yeah, still joining just to save a little bit of money from the Winter Fury. And understandably, my opponent resigned. Eh. Hmm. What else do I say about this? Don't really know much else other than I managed to create a position where I can stalemate, like just not do anything. And then we just sat there for like 15 turns. Perhaps if Olaf was a little more aggressive to force out more powers, to force out more Winter Furies, to cripple the amount of vehicles that benefit from, like, if he reduced my unit count that benefits from Lightning Strike by having constant engagements, perhaps the Olaf could eventually win. I know it is the case that Eagle, if he doesn't get the property advantage later on, he will just get attrition to death. But yeah, so I really did enjoy this map. Well, not this map, this battle, because I still love Eagle versus Olaf games. It's very interesting for me. But yeah, that was that.